That's our time. So hi, everyone, and thanks for joining. So let me keep this simple and clarify the expectations from this presentation. So most of you here already use SCADA every day. Might be another control system. And it's critical. It shows you what's happening in your operations in real time. And just to be clear, I'm not here to tell you or ask you to replace SCADA, yeah? But here is the issue, yeah? SCADA tells you what's happening, but it doesn't tell you what's about to happen. So if a failure is coming tomorrow, or even in a few hours, SCADA won't warn you early enough to act, yeah? And that's where predictive analytics comes in. It doesn't replace SCADA, but it builds on top of it. It helps you move from reacting to preventing. So by the way, for those who don't know me, I'm Hisham Omri, Head of Global Partnerships at the Samsung Group SAMGuard, based in Frankfurt, Germany. Joining me today is Nick Hunter, Optimization and Reliability Manager at Signal Process Solutions and our service provider for the US market. We also have members of our technical and leadership team for SAMGuard, including our head of technical, managing director, and also vice president of customer success, who will be helping to answer your questions throughout the session. So please feel free to drop your questions in the chat at any time, and we will respond as we go. And we will also have a dedicated questions and answer session at the end. So we will have enough time to respond to your questions. All right, so let's go into it. So before we talk about predictive analytics, let's start with what you already have. SCADA, DCS, PLC, systems, MES, these are the backbone of your operations. They give you real-time visibility. They help you monitor, control, and keep things running safely and efficiently. And to be clear, they are reliable and absolutely essential. So nothing we are discussing today replaces that, yeah? But they were never designed to predict. They tell you what's happening right now, not what's likely to happen next. And that's the gap we are going to focus on today. So now here is the reality we all deal with. Failures don't happen suddenly. They build up over time. You start seeing small changes, maybe temperature starts drifting, vibration increases slightly, energy consumption is a bit higher than usual, but nothing is alarming. Everything is still within limits. I think we hear some noise, so maybe you can mute your microphone. Thank you so much. Yeah. So energy consumption is a bit higher than usual, but nothing is alarming. Yeah. So everything is still within limits. No alarms, no trips. So from a SCADA perspective, everything looks fine. Yeah. But in reality, the problem has already started. And by the time it crosses a threshold, you are no longer preventing the issue, you are reacting to it. Maybe, Nick, you want to share something here?
Yeah. So we just discussed the limitations of SCADA control systems. What we are seeing is a real big limitation here, driving all industry into reactive states. Things like threshold-based detection, reactive alarms, misses early in the stages of failure, and then no pattern recognition whatsoever in these systems, which is leading us to prevent ourselves from being preventive. Yeah, there's a reason why SCADA alarms don't work, right? Like the alerts are based on fixed thresholds, so MAWP, MAWT, things like that. Not so much operations or reliability either. It's mostly the limits of your facility. Large number of alerts cause alert fatigue. A lot of our customers are not taking the effort it takes for alarm rationalization. So your operators often start silencing alarms, tabling them. Sometimes I've had customers actually be adjusting the alarms so that it don't keep them up in the morning, right? Uh, but what this does as a result is it helps, it prevents the important signals from being seen, and they're just ignored. And the real issues are hidden and delayed, right?
Yeah,
So the bottom line is the system works as designed, but not as needed, right?
exactly.
So, of course, with these type of practices, our critical issues stay invisible, right? It's just an inherent um, part of a reactive maintenance, right? And even when things look normal, problems can still be developing, right? Especially, I could give you so many examples on this one, but oscillation issues. You know, oscillations is an interesting one to me because some plants inherently oscillate, right? And you see it in your trends. You can't tune it out. So when you move away from your normal oscillation, do you even notice? Right? We get noises, sometimes irregular data, or just irregular or unstable signals coming out, and that causes you to not look either. And in stagnation, a signal becomes flat or stuck or constant value. Um, we've seen a lot of times in like systems like, for instance, pi. If your instrument stops reading, it won't actually tell you the data is bad. It just gives you a hold value, and just for it could be months and nobody notices that this data is not flowing. So with no no thresholds are crossed, and that means no alerts are being triggered, right? um yeah, so we detect issues too late. We just do, right? Where if you're only using threshold alerts, by the time you're getting that alert, it's too late. After degradation has already started in your systems, we're getting these things, pluggages, things like that we can predict and plan repairs, but we just aren't able to with the way we're running our systems today, and then limited ability to anticipate anything. Right? We literally are running until the alarm goes off. Right?
Right. So thank you so much, Nick. So,
Yeah.
so what we just saw is the core issue. So SCADA is very good at telling you when something is already wrong. Yeah. So we all agree on this, but it relies on fixed thresholds, and real systems or equipments don't fail like that. Uh, they drift, as Nick just clarified.
Yeah.
So small changes start to appear, a slight increase in vibration, for example, a small temperature shift, or a pressure variation. Individually, they look normal, so no alarm is triggered, but together they tell you a totally different story. And that's where predictive analytics comes in. Yeah. So instead of looking at signals in isolation, it looks at how they behave together over time. It learns what normal looks like and detects when the system starts to deviate from that pattern. Yeah. So you are not waiting for a threshold to be crossed. You are identifying the early signs of degradation before failure and before alarms. And that changes your position completely. And I think you agree on this, right? So you are no longer reacting to events. If you depend on SCADA, you are totally reacting to events, to actual failures happening. but you are anticipating them. And so if the problem now is clear and we are relying on systems that only react, then the real question is, how do you move earlier? And how do you detect issues before alarms or before trips or before failure? That's exactly what we built SumGuard to do. So SumGuard is an AI-powered layer on top of your existing system. So it's not replacing your system. It works on top of your existing system. SumGuard is designed to monitor, detect, and protect your plant in real time, not by replacing SCADA, but by making it smarter. So how SumGuard actually works? How SumGuard actually works? So SumGuard works with your existing data by continuously tracking a sensor's reading. So as you know, the data is generated by the sensors, and the data goes to the DCS, SCADA, PLC, MES, or MOM, or any of the control systems you are using. Here, totally today we are focusing on SCADA. And from the control system, the data goes to the data historian and save it there. And this is how SumGuard works. So we connect SumGuard to the data historian. Then the big data transforms into smart data. And SumGuard then will send you an alert. You will see on the interface of SumGuard where exactly the problem is happening, which equipment, what time, and what exactly the issue is. And how this works exactly, SumGuard compares the historical data with the current data. Whenever there is an abnormal behavior happening or a deviation happening to any of the equipment throughout the entire plant, SumGuard will send you an alert. So whenever there is a problem happens compared to the historical data that falls above or below the normal pattern, you receive an alert. SumGuard tracks the process anomalies, quality issues, and equipment health. And before predicting anything, SumGuard first understands your process. So it uses your P and IDs and historical data, as I explained, to see how everything in your plant is connected and behaves together. Because without that context, data is just noise. So data is the most important element, and that's why early warning signs are often missed. So and that's also what allows SumGuard to detect problems days or even weeks before traditional systems do. So with SCADA, you act at time when the issue is already there, but when you add on top of it SumGuard, which uses AI and smart machine algorithms, you act ahead of time, days or weeks before the issue escalates. So once we build the process relation, SumGuard is implemented, so SumGuard will start working. So SumGuard then will start to detect an alert. So SumGuard detects anomalies and alerts you to failures before they happen. So SumGuard oversees the health and performance of every single equipment in the plant, regardless of who is the manufacturer or the vendor of the equipment. But SumGuard is not only alerting you to problems, SumGuard also provides insights to improve efficiency and reduce downtime. So SumGuard will tell you most probably what the issue is. So SumGuard has a very high precision. So SumGuard tells you from the thousands of sensors embedded in the plant, which is the one sensor responsible about the problem. But on top of this, you get also an insight. So SumGuard tells you, here is the problem, this is the sensor, this is the equipment, and also provides you with an insight. What's most likely the issue is. Yeah. So Nick, this is a use case.
Yeah. So this is a use case we've had here in a proven solution. So we have a multi-stage compressor here that has displacement sensors in it. Typically, these type of sensors would go into a vibration monitoring or a reliability system capability, but this one happened to be monitored through a historian into SAMGuard, and we noticed a shift in the displacement. What's interesting here is none of the alerts were set for a zero displacement. In fact, it was still set for the API and ANSI limits, right? So the sensor went bad, it fell at zero, and the customer didn't know. So we were able to notify them of this issue. They were able to plan an outage, get the sensors working, but what they didn't know was that their system wasn't protected without SAMGuard. Right, SAMGuard is the ones that actually brought this system into a more predictive solution, and they were proactively able to go out and repair the sensors that were monitoring their equipment. Here we have a control valve issue. We're just monitoring this condensate tank, right? These processes, we have level, control valve, feedback, all this happening here, and then all of a sudden this oscillation starts. We see this subtle change. It's still within limits, so the board operator is not getting alarms, not even noticing this. We let them know. It allowed their maintenance to go out and do a visual inspection, find an issue with this valve, specifically around the positioner, sorry, and they were able to get the positioner ordered and the repair done at their next outage, preventing this from actually taking them down. They were actually able to have operators start doing more frequent rounds. So it created a lot more value, just letting them know that this subtle change happened. Your control valve is about to fail, instead of, by the way, you have an alarm because your valve just failed. Yep, and here we have a pump issue. Really, it's a temperature stability is what we noticed, right? We alerted them well before any of their systems or SCADA systems did. It's a bearing temperature here, and what we really found out was there was something wrong within the temperature loop, but ultimately, again, because this wasn't falling within their alert levels, right? They had no clue that this temperature RTD had actually started to fall. So we were able to get them back into a predictive stage, even using some other tools that they've identified to use.
Right. Thank you so much, Nick.
Welcome.
So now we came to the important part, questions. So please, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, there's a question, Marco.
Okay.
Yeah, about the how much historical data. We try to recommend you use at least 6 months of historical data, right? That would be the best to get our models working and learn your process the most.
Yeah. So also to further clarify this, what you said is absolutely correct, Nick. So
Yep.
the ideal scenario is we need a 1 year of data, 12 months. So that's the best scenario, because with the 1 year of data, SAMGuard will understand the seasonal variation of the behavior of the plant throughout the entire year. However, if a 1 year of data is not available, I would say starting from 3 months of data, that's also perfect for SAMGuard to see the capabilities and the value.
How long does it take to implement, SAMGuard in a new infrastructure, in a new, or perhaps when you're getting it? For me, for example, I'm working on an expansion project, and I'm looking to implement. If I'm looking to implement it,
right?
Okay.
Would you like me to cover that one?
Yeah, I could answer.
Okay.
So in general, could you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Perfect, thank you. So the implementation, it's depend on number of tags and assets to be monitored. Let's assume you have 500 tags. The full implementation process should take up to 2 months.
Yeah.
Which will we'll have the step of server preparation, data integration, plant virtualization, cold running, and then the system will be available.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So between 500 tags equates to 2 months. So 1,000 tag will be proportionate to just under 4 months. Is that correct? Yeah.
No, it's not running like that. It's not duplicated, because most of the times would be we will invest in a plant virtualization. So saying, let's assume you have 500 tags, and the implementation would be up to 2 months. If we are speaking about 1,000 tags, it would be about 2.5 months.
Oh, okay. That's even better.
Yeah,
okay, that's
it's
fine.
not exponentially in the same way like the number of samples. I
So
also
how do I?
here, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So how do I engage with? Because I would like to understand and put a business case forward. So I'm in a position where I'm expanding a big program within one of the utility companies, and I'm looking to integrate AI and digitization in part of this program work. So my question would be, I would like to, outside this session, follow up and then have just to get to understand how we can implement it, put a business case together, and then I can move that forward. How would you support me in doing that?
Sure, Kelly. Thank you for your question. We will please leave your email in the chat, and we will contact you separately, and we'll explain in the details the full business case, what would be the KPI, and how we will proceed together.
Thank you. I'll do that.
Thank you so much.
Kelly, from your accent, I would assume you are based in the UK, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I see more questions. How far in the future the prediction are modeled? How often the predictive models are updating to every new measurement or regular interval?
Yeah.
So the future prediction.
Sorry, Lena. So before we move to this question, so let's just clarify Kelly's question and the early question that came in. So for SAMGuard, just to step to the next question is very clear. So the first question is, we need data. How many months of data we need? I would say starting from 3 months, that's perfect for SAMGuard. What we need for SAMGuard is sensors. We do not provide the sensors. We work with the sensors that you have already in place. So starting from 100 sensor, starting from 3 months of data, then SAMGuard can deliver. Yeah, the ideal scenario for SAMGuard is a 1 year of data. So as more months of data you have are better for SAMGuard. 5, 6, 7 months, 8 months, that's better. And starting from up to 500 sensors, that's very good, because the data is generated by the sensors. We need the sensors. More sensors you have, that means SAMGuard will oversee the health and performance of every single equipment in the plant. So then you make sure that the whole plant is covered. Yeah. So we need data, sensors, and implementation takes roughly about 2 months up to 12 weeks maximum. So I would say 2 months, 2 months and a half. Depends on the number of sensors, but there is also a very important element, Kelly, which is how cooperative the client is with us. Sometimes clients do not cooperate, do not share the details we need, the information we need, and that will delay the implementation. Yeah. So the client needs to share the materials needed with our technical team and IT to really fasten the process of implementation and achieve it at time. Based on our experience, it's always achieved within 2 months.
Yeah, so thank you very much. So I've just put something in when I request about data security policy, how is this managed? Because the engagement will be between the OT team for the operational technology team within my business and the SAMGuard, after we've basically understood where, because for me, I'm looking at it as a pilot program. I'm going to start it on I go about 300 wastewater site that we need to implement this. So my aim is to start in one of the biggest one in London, and which my program is on, and then see how we can roll it across. So, having that understanding of the data in the feedback response, I would appreciate from you guys would be data response, data governance, and all of that. Just understand how that is going to be managed, cybersecurity risk and all, because those information will be critical in delivering.
Right. Yeah. Clear. So I think, Lena, now we can move to the next question. Yeah.
One moment, because I'm trying to answer some more questions in chat in parallel. Because I see a lot of interest. So how far in the future the prediction model, how often the predictive model is updated, AI, every new measurement or regular intervals? So I will answer the second question, how often the predictive model is updated. It's updated very frequently. We have a lot of triggers as part of our software, such as replacement of equipment, new real data coming, maintenance period, sensitivity updates, and so on. So the model becoming and continuously recalculating to be effective on monitoring the real-time data. How far in the future the prediction model, it depends. If we are speaking about slow drift up or slow drift down, it could be months before the real failure coming. If we are speaking about significant change like jump in a signal, then probably you will be updated days or hours before.
Yeah, I think a key point there, Lena, is that it depends not only on your process, the failure mode, and the instrumentation that you have installed, right? So we do our best with what you already have is the key there, right? So I like to tell people my goal is 2 months ahead of whenever it's going to impact your process, right? But it just really depends on key factors, right? And if those key factors all align, we can do it really well. Others, no. Like for instance, vibrations. Typically, when vibrations start to drift pretty rapidly, we're within hours. I will say we've seen in vibration where we're predicting issues at least 12 to 16 hours before their actual vibration monitoring systems are. So it just depends on your install base really and your process.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. I see another question here. Does the SCADA offer a monitoring service? Okay, or does the client need to monitor and interpret the alarms themselves? So SCADA is primarily monitoring and early detection platform. Yeah. So SCADA acts ahead of time. So before any issue escalates, SCADA will alert you days or weeks before. SCADA will tell you, SCADA will first compare the historical data with the current data in real time. Whenever SCADA sees or detects a deviation that falls above or below the normal pattern, you will receive an alert. Also, SCADA will try to explain to you what's the problem actually happening. So you get an insight. On top of this, our process engineers will provide you with a service which is totally cost-free throughout the entire year of your subscription. They receive also in parallel the alert, yeah, and they check the equipment, they check the surrounding equipment and sensors, and then they send you a report about what's most probably the issue is and the actions that needs to be taken, yeah. So you get full support in order not to miss the issue. What else? The pricing, yeah, okay. What's your pricing strategy? Yeah, definitely yes. So I think it's answered. So the price of SCADA is aligned with the number of sensors embedded in the plant. So up to 500 sensors, I will just be very clear. So up to 500 sensors, there is an X price, I would say, starting from 45,000 up to 110,000 for over 10,000 sensors. Yeah.
And Hisham, I do see two questions, which is quite with the same route. One is the system required traditional thresholds to be put as part of the systems? And the answer for this question, no. You don't need to populate any thresholds. The system will learn what is the normal behavior of the plant. and each and every asset within the plant. And then based on this, we'll generate the alert once we have a deviation from the normal behavior. And the same, and another question, but with the same root cause, let's say, so what you are proposing is a traditional real-time maintenance and forecasting, not predicting by the way if using data, how you deal with unexpected events. For this, we have unsupervised learning algorithm, which is not requiring labeling of the data for the previous failures. Therefore, the implementation it's much easier than with the others, as you don't need to populate and provide us with a log of failures in the past, which not always also exist.
Yeah. Thank you, Lena. Also a question from Kubli about sharing the video and to your emails. They recorded the session. So yes, definitely we will try to share the presentation. Also, please feel free to reach out to me directly, and we can arrange also a one-to-one presentation and respond to your questions also, where you can invite your team to participate. And then we can have a dedicated session, not only SAMGuard, we will also present to you a live demo of SAMGuard. So you see SAMGuard in action. And also we will have and present the technical presentation to see the overall technical requirements, which is pretty much basic, nothing is special, and respond to all your technical questions and probably move forward. Yeah.
I see Shahzad has had his hand up for a while. What what's your question, sir?
Yes, basically, I have some industrial experience in a different domain, not a control system, but I know very well about industrial control system, DCS, SCADA, is their maintenance and something. And right now, I am doing a master in data science, so my field is AI. So I want to basically join my final thesis and internship with company. So I already write in a message and you say to send a CV in email, but I want to remember and recognize me with my introduction. So this is basic things. So I know basics now about LSTM and something, and also right now I'm doing a work in anomaly detection in OT cybersecurity. But I want to move some topic just like digital twins and this type. So I know this is not relevant question, but this is my concern. So if you have some relevant opportunity, something to build up more team from the. Okay.
Thank you, Adil. As you mentioned, AI, and so probably just to mention something in relation to AI and SAMGuard. So as you know, I mentioned this couple of times that AI is not magic. Yeah, we know that SAMGuard is using AI and smart machine algorithms, but AI is mathematics and pattern recognition. So in relation to SAMGuard and to predictive analytics, so AI is learning from data, yeah? And so when we see the data is generated by the sensors, as you see, and what SAMGuard does exactly, SAMGuard helps you communicate and understand the language of your plant. So SAMGuard transforms the big data into smart data. So you understand exactly what's happening in the plant, yeah? So it's not anymore a reactive maintenance to an issue. So it's predictive maintenance. It's a much more smarter way of yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, I know the predictive maintenance because of previous historical databases relevant to DCS or something like SCADA in any control system has some previous time-based data, and they need to be predict more a prediction to when they will become some error in the future. So
Right.
I know something, but not very well because I want to join this team as a
Yeah.
fresher. So if you have any opportunity, I will be reach you with email or some link to
Yep. Thank you so much,
have a
Adil.
conversation.
Any comment,
There
any
is
concern, any question is most welcome. So yes, Lena, go ahead.
there is a question from Jones.
Yeah.
Jones.
Cannot see it.
Malver
I don't know.
Jones.
Jones.
Mother Jones, you raise a head. What do you like to ask?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
So there's two similar questions, really. Firstly is about, there was a comment there that context without context data is just noise. So developing that thought, how does the system take into account the context of the data?
Okay. So as part of our implementation, we are building a plant virtualization where is a relationship between different assets and processes are configured. From this, we know what is exactly how the operation should run and what will affect and influence from the second side. Also, in parallel to that, the system is a learning system. Each alert that presented to the user would be classified by the user as a valuable or not valuable. As soon as you are getting the valuable alert, this alert would be prioritized next time. If it's not valuable, then this pattern would be deprioritized next time.
So are you saying there is an element of human validation?
There is an element of human validation in terms of alerts, yes, but to be very accurate from the beginning, the false positive is very low with the SAMGuard, so this validation is very limited.
Okay, and so the other human interaction then is obviously things like operator input. So same process plant operating on, for many hours, might have more than one operator shift, and the characteristics of different operators may operate the process differently. How does SAMGuard take that into account?
Mostly it depends on the production center, on the production sensor, what is the capacity and what is the operation normal behavior. For this purpose, we took,
But if you have, a distillation column and you have a feedstock of a particular blend, then two different shift operators will operate that distillation column in completely different ways to achieve the same production.
I agree. And that's why we took the yearly data to learn what is the normal behavior. In most of the cases, this data, those two operators already represent what have been done previously.
Okay, so you then have maybe two different operator sets that are operating the process equally as productively, but differently. And obviously, SAMGuard will only be able to interpret the context of each individual shift as it is operating in that moment, because it can't use that moment to predict, because tomorrow's shift might operate differently.
You're right. There are different. It could be run with a different operation and different operators, but different ways. That's why we took the historian data to see those different operators and different operation modes, which is still with a normal behavior. When we are speaking about the normal behavior, you have different clusters of normal behavior. So it's not just one. It's per asset. It separated, and we have even more complex cases where we are speaking about the batch operation, or when we are speaking about production of the different products on the same production line, and not just only different operations. So those cases took into the account.
Okay, thank you.
I would say though, if you ever if you're interested in seeing a demo, I'd love to show you. But in some of our dashboards, we do track number of alerts over time, and I've had customers actually use that to drive training opportunities for operations shifts. So if you do have operations running your facilities differently, that is not idea. And with that opportunity of tracking which one is having the most issues, it allows you for cross shift training to get your team aligned as well. So you can actually use SAMGuard to drive alignment across your organization in that way as well.
Yeah, but sometimes there is a current realization that diversity and diverse thinking actually brings a benefit. And actually shoehorning into a closed system is now not the direction of travel that we want.
Yes, but identifying problems in between shifts allows you to share the learnings of that diversity and to grow together. But also I would say within industry, diversity is not always great. There's reasons why we have ISO programs, quality control programs, things like that. So everybody has opportunity to get into the same result, but if we're all learning from each other, it makes that path way less difficult.
Right, fine.
Thank you, Jones. I see another question. So, hello, can we say SAMGuard is same as CMMS or similar? A CMMS is a computerized maintenance management system. So SAMGuard solves completely different problems. So a CMMS manages maintenance. Yeah, SAMGuard predict when maintenance is needed. I think Nick already also answered the question. Yeah. What else? And maybe to clarify also something regarding, because I received this question, they say our operators already spot issues, so why we add this? So experienced operators are valuable, but they can't track thousands of variables that SAMGuard can scale and track, across the entire plant. So operators can't really track the variables across the entire plant 24/7, which SAMGuard can do. I'm trying to look randomly at some questions.
Yeah, there's a good one here about so we can only work with the sensors we already have integrated in machines. So can we use manual data gathering, work something out there? So yeah, I mean that is the point of SAMGuard, is to use the instrumentation you already have installed. Feel free to add others. We do help you identify some visualization blind spots you might have, and make recommendations on instrumentation there. So it is a continuous process, but we try to only use the sensors you have. And another key thing is here, for us, it's not about the asset as much as it is the process. So if you have sensors elsewhere in your process that could help you identify a problem with an asset, that is our goal, right? So you might not have the vibration here, but we can tell you through a flow meter downstream that you're cavitating your pump, those type of things. Manual data gathering is great. We can use that if it is in your historian. However, just know that every time you have a human in the system, it does bring data value down, or I'll say trustworthiness down, not on purpose, but parallax error, all kinds of things out there we could talk about. But yes, as long as the data is getting to your historian, we can use that as a trainable value.
Yeah. Did we miss any questions here?
Yeah, I see another question from Aviv. Just how does communicates the internal parties like maintenance team, emails, how does it keep records for reporting. So there are a lot of things how they could communicate. First of all, they could communicate within the systems. There is a chat, whereas each user could provide the note forward to another user, and so on. Also, the system is available as a mobile application. You're all more than welcome to download, and our demo would be download on every partner or on every platform like Google, Galaxy, or App Store. Just put SamGuard, and our demo will be embedded inside, and you will be able to play with it. Also, we have a functionality of previous alerts, which is presented with the system. So it's very advanced level of delivering not only the current stage, but also saving the previous stages and doing the audit to your maintenance job.
Probably can expand a little bit further regarding the mobile version of SamGuard. So many clients really love it because the mobile version of SamGuard offers our clients lots of flexibility. Yes, so while you are outside in a meeting, at home, traveling, you keep track of what's happening in your factory, in your plant. So you can receive an alert via your mobile, but it's not only the alert. SamGuards will show you exactly the level of criticality of the issue. So you will see, for example, in different colors, the active alerts already happening in the plant. But at the same time, you will see, for example, marked in red if the issue is critical, and you can track it, you can click on it, you will see which equipment, and then you can maybe call one of your team to take an action, maybe you take care of it. So it's not only the alert, SamGuard will highlight you the criticality of the alert. Yeah. Any more questions? So maybe it's, I can maybe add, okay, that's a thank you. Thank you very much, Aviv, I appreciate it. So back to SCADA, maybe you can ask a quick question just to recap. So it's not a question that requires an answer from you, is can SCADA predict failures? So not really. So SCADA, as mentioned by Nick and by me, is designed to monitor an alarm based on fixed thresholds. So it tells you when something is already outside limits. So it tells you exactly when something is already happening, when the problem already happened, yeah, or when it started to drift towards failure. Where SamGuard fills that gap by detecting patterns and deviations before thresholds are crossed. So you act in advance before the issue escalates. So it's a much more smarter maintenance, I would say. Okay. Thank you so much, Cathode. Appreciate it. So I will give you the chance for another questions. Few more minutes. Thanks a lot, Pascal.
Yeah.
So maybe a client can also ask, we already have alarms. Why do we need more alarms? Yes, so you don't actually need more alarms. You need earlier insight. Yeah, so alarms are reactive by design. Yeah, but SamGuard is proactive. It identifies degradation before an alarm is even relevant. So that's the main difference. Yeah. So it's not more alarms, but you act much earlier and smarter, I would say.
Yeah, I don't like calling them alarms. I like calling them insights.
Insights, right?
Right, because
Absolutely.
we're just using the data you already have to give you insights before your alarms go off. Right. That's the point.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So apparently we came to the end of it. So so let me say, what does SumGuard fundamentally change? Yeah. So SumGuard changes your timing. Instead of reacting after an alarm, you act before the issue becomes critical. So you have plenty of time to save your plant from failure, from damage, and have a much better and healthier process and operations. So as I don't see more questions, I would be more than happy to receive your emails, questions. We can have a dedicated one-to-one session to present SumGuard, to demo SumGuard, the most important part of it. When you see a live demo of SumGuard, it will change the whole game. You will really love it, yeah? So you will see how SumGuard keep track of your equipments and the entire plant, covers and tracks the health and performance of every single equipment you have. The precision of SumGuard, the capabilities of SumGuard, and the value and savings that SumGuard will create, which is very important. I would encourage you to see a demo of SumGuard. So please feel free to reach out. We will have a dedicated session. Also, try to bring your technical team. So then I will engage also our head of technical to make a technical presentation and respond to your technical questions. Yeah. So a big thanks from my side. Thanks a million, everyone. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Lena. And thanks to the participants.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. I wish you a beautiful day ahead.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Cheers. Bye-bye.